which kind of is the perfect segue to your life in 2021, which is Mayor of London, right? Should we watch a video?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool.
So who am I? Well, I'm a proud Brit with an American accent. I've lived in this city for 21 years. I've been a British citizen for 14 years, and this city has given me everything. It gave me my life back. It gave me my business. It gave me my family. It gave me my purpose. Today is a very important day because I think we face, as this city, really a crossroads. We can go one of two directions. We can go a direction into the future where we have the most incredible city in the world. And this is the least I can do to give something back for everything that's been given to me. So yeah, then I decided to become Mayor of London, right? I mean, now that I look back at these 10 years, it just all sounds crazy, doesn't it? It all seems like a movie. And so, you know, the truth is, in 2020, I was complaining about public policy, governments. I was complaining about being restricted in freedom of speech. And at one point I thought, you know what? Your sons, Caden and Damon, are gonna look back in 20 years and they're gonna say, what did Daddy do in like one of the most trying times in human history? Did he make another video or did he actually do something about it? That was the question I asked myself. And I looked at the current Mayor of London and I said, you must be joking. I looked at all the businesses that were struggling. I was taking taxis home at night and the cabbies were saying, I can barely handle my mental health, let alone make my payment. I was getting all the business owners and friends I know saying, we're dying here and no one's talking about this thing happening. And I thought, you know what, we need to try to do better. So I spoke with my team and we said, let's go for it. You know, we really think we can create a change. We see the vision. And I decided to run for Mayor of London. And so we went for it and we went all in. We started campaigning 6 months before anybody else did. You know, I mean, this is something that's usually done in 6 weeks before the election in May. We started like in August and September. Actually, started preparing. I think I announced in October. So we had 7 months to campaign to be Mayor of London. I'd never run for political office. I'd never wanted to run. But I saw this city I love, 9 million people in here who were being just devastated every day by like a total lack of vision, a total lack of leadership. And I thought, we can make a difference. It was probably the most difficult thing I've ever done. It's the most expensive thing I've ever done. And luckily, I had incredible people here with experience that just backed me up and backed me 100%, including my family, my wife, and my daughter, who honestly had to bear the harder part of it because when you run for political office, everybody comes after you. Mm-hmm. And that's part of what happened to us. But we went all in on this. We went to win. We didn't win because this was fun. We didn't win to just, you know, get on a debate. We went to win. So we created resources. I created a 50-page manifesto with all the policies of London to get business back in work, to help transport, to help crime, to help housing, the issues that London cares about. I met with members of the House of Lords, members of the Metropolitan Police, architects, top architects in London, community groups. I went out and spoke with the knife control people in Croydon. I mean, we were out on the streets creating solutions. And we have amazing policies that honestly will stand up for the next 10 years. I had a solution to get corporate money from Amazon and Citibank into our community centers. But right now, they don't get anything from the government, and these kids have nothing better to do. And then they complain when there's knife crime. I had ways to solve our transport problem, which is an absolute mess. The tube is so antiquated, and yet it could be run at a profit. I had solutions for housing. Like the amount of new houses built, affordable homes in the past 5 years, it's a joke. It's like thousands when more like 50, 100,000 have been promised. I actually had business solutions for all of this. And yet when you look at politics, it's just this terrible game of nothing changing. And I do actually hope that the blockchain will help us in the future. And so we went all in. I knew it was gonna be difficult, but I had no idea that the media would come after us with a vengeance. And I realized this, Alex, there are gatekeepers out there.
Yeah.
that I bypassed with YouTube. I didn't have to go to the television channels to broadcast London Real. But when you go into politics, first of all, you have two brands out there. In the UK, it's called Labour and Conservative. In America, it's called Democrat and Republican. And they are brands, just like Coca-Cola. And they are big business. And they do not want to be messed with because they control probably more wealth than Coca-Cola or Amazon or Google. And so they have an inherent need to fight back. Also, the media companies are all part of that ecosystem as well. And they get stories from these people. And they, whether they know it or not, are probably anti any independent candidate. Also, the BBC, right? Our broadcaster. Strangely enough, even though I was the second favorite in every betting odds maker for at least 4 months, I didn't get invited to the debates. And this is our national broadcasting company, where clearly I'm the second favorite, and yet I didn't get invited out of 4 or 6 candidates. So it was all very strange. Also, I couldn't campaign because we were potentially locked down, so we had to come up with creative solutions. We created a battle bus that I drove around London. We went 5,700 miles inside of London. I went to every single one of the 32 boroughs in London twice. As much as I could, I got out in the streets and talked to people, but when we couldn't, we broadcast from the back of the bus and we live streamed. I live streamed for 2 hours every couple of days and answered live questions. Where our current mayor of London, there was one point where people from the public tried to ask him questions. He locked himself in a coffee shop for an hour, and then he ran to his Range Rover and refused to talk to them. I actually went out into the streets and talked to everybody I could. So it was enlightening for me. The press came after me. I was the heroin-taking, urine-drinking, break-dancing American who wants to take over your country. This was the narrative. And we were on the front page of the Times. We had a 2-page print spread in the Times of magazine, the Evening Standard. We had more media, I think we were the top 4 candidate when it came to media compared with all the others. We served up, I think, 2 billion impressions of our advertisements to people in London with all of my policy videos. We went all in. And everybody came after us and tried to attack anything that they could to try to discredit us. So I know how a lot of people feel now. And honestly, I got to ignore it, but my family had to watch and read all of that stuff. And that was hard because they have to read all these things and say, do you hear what this person's saying about you? Why don't you say something? And then you learn quickly in media that if you reply, then you increase the narrative and it expands. And so sometimes you have to choose your battles and try to focus on your policies and your opinions. And so, man, it was really intense.